So anywhere that you can find these things, right, you want to identify them ahead of time. So that means you have to have a clear idea of where you're going with your creature. You have to have a plan, right? It helps even, and let me just do this. This is one thing that helps me out. Let's bring up a new text file. All right, so let's go battle plan. What needs to be done? And you should do this periodically, right? This helps out a lot. It helps me sort out what I need to do. It's just like a morning to-do list. What do I have to do for the day? So let's see, I have to sculpt hard surface elements. Elements too. I need to, before I do that, I need to isolate hard surface elements. Isolate body. Then sculpt hard surface elements. Actually, element and duplicate. Then I need to go through and sculpt the body. Then Z-remesh hard surface elements. Z-remesh body. Go into Maya and weld the low poly together. And modify the topology for rigging. And then after that, we'll go and bring it back into ZBrush, UV master, then clean UVs up in Maya, then build base texture. In ZBrush, then texture in Substance, generate all maps in ZBrush or Maya, then reconstruct everything along with PBR in Unreal, right? So this gives me, even if there's things that change in between this, where I'm like, oh, I need to go back here and tune this, I need to go back there. I'm looking at all the steps from where I'm at today to the very end of what I need to do, right? Knowing this, or having even just this loose plan, this tells me where I can try and save time. So I'm looking, is there anything in here that's going to take me a lot of time? Well, this is kind of vague. Texture and substance. All right, so this is an area. Examine for optimization. And this might be hard. This is going to be hard for you to do right now unless you've had some experience in Substance. Right, so are there things we can do in Designer that'll save us time in Painter? Are there things that we can do as far as building out our materials that we're going to paint with inside of Painter? Is there anything here in the map building process? Maybe we're going to use multi-map exporter, the plugin inside of ZBrush to export our maps to expedite that. That could save us time. Let's see, build base texture in ZBrush. What features, or what's my plan of attack for painting? Is this too small on the screen for you guys? Do I need to bump this up? Let me bump this up a little bit. What tools will I use here? So let's go through some of these steps, some of the ones that you're familiar with, all right? So isolating hard surface elements, what features are we going to be using here? You guys should already know. Just to isolate things, isolating them, make them solid again. What are we doing? Polygroup split, close holes, remesh with Dynamesh, right? So we're going to be using Dynamesh ZRemesher workflow, right? Now are we going to need to project? Probably not, because we're going to be sculpting new pieces. Yes, we'll be making separate subtools for sure. This will be Dynamesh ZRemesher as well. Let's see, for sculpting the hard surface elements or element and duplicating and shaping. This is stuff that I just go through in my brain, right? When I'm going through, I don't normally write all of this down in detail, but it's something that I just do intuitively because I've just done it repetitively over and over and over again. So, but you should sort of isolate these tasks in your brain and go, okay, I have to do this. Now, where can I shave time? So, sculpt hard surface elements. What are in sculpting, in doing like surface details, stuff like that, what are time savers inside of ZBrush? Like if you had to do skin pores over the entire body, what would be your time saver? Alphas, sure. Alphas are good. But there's a specific feature. There's a specific feature that saves time. And what is that feature? Surface noise. All right, so for broad coverage, surface noise. What can we do with surface noise? We can tile alphas. All right, so we want to use those alphas inside of surface noise to find good tileable alphas that we can apply across the surface. So surface noise alphas, and that's going to be for both of these. We want to look at implementing both of these to save time. And we don't want to sacrifice quality, but we want to try and save time. So we're going to have to say, okay, this isn't going to be a solve completely, right? We're not going to be able to just completely lean on surface noise to do the job for us, but we're going to have it do 50% of the job or 60% of the job for us, and then we go back in by hand and sort of pretty it up and make it look good, you know, so it doesn't look just like some procedural texture we applied across the surface. Let's see, anything that we can do to reduce time in this step, in ZRemeshing hard surface elements and ZRemeshing the body. So if we're sculpting, we know that we're going to be subdividing. Right? We'll have subdivisions on these surfaces. And if we're going to ZRemesh it, what do we need to do in order to ZRemesh a mesh that's already been sculpted on? What feature do we have to use? And I guess it's sort of like quiz time for you guys. Right? We're going to be using projecting. We can, but what's, if we don't want to make a bunch of subtools for everything, what do we need to do to ZRemesh it? I'll just give it to you guys. Freeze subdivision. Not free subdivision, but freeze subdivision. There we go. What slows down ZRemesher and projecting when you unfreeze subdivision levels? What slows that process down? Let's check on ZBrush, by the way. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. Can I work with that? I don't know, that's pretty gnarly. I think I'm gonna have to clean this up. Let's see what you guys have. Target polygon count. Excellent, Marcos. So when we're sculpting and we're subdividing, we want to watch our poly count. So what does that mean, watching our poly count? That means that you're not adding extra subdivisions that you don't need. Give me 1 second, guys. My battery is dying. You can see it's at 17%. All right, still with me? All right, no problem, Marco, or no problem, Simon. All right, so target polygon count is one thing, right? And we got to watch that because, the way we watch that is that we make sure that we don't waste any polys. You sculpt optimally. That means you don't subdivide all the way up to 10 million, 20 million polys right away. You go in and you make sure that you're only subdividing when you absolutely have to. So what else, anything else we can do in here to help optimize this, to make it go faster? Is it wisest to use free subdivision? Is that the best way? Or do we duplicate and then delete the higher subdivisions, Z-remesh then, and then manually project? Is that faster or is that slower? I don't know. I mean, you'll have to try it out and see what works for you on your creature. So we copy both of these, and these are just sort of notes for us, right? And I want you to keep these in mind. Now, is this stuff helpful for you? Is this stuff that you just normally think of? Am I beating a dead horse with this, or is this something that you guys don't normally go through, a process that you go through when you're working on something? Because I think this is stuff that everybody goes through at some point, but I don't think necessarily we categorize it very well.